All right, everyone, I think we're going to get started. Once again, a reminder to everyone on here, if you could just mute your lines so we can limit the background noise and make it a lot easier for everyone to listen and to pay attention to this fun-filled and packed evening. This is Chris here. I want to welcome everybody and thank you for taking some time out of your busy lives and busy evenings. This is something we've done in the past, and we're going to get back to throughout this season as things hopefully get somewhat normal again. And, a lot of this will just be some things that we're going to, we've covered in the past. We just want to drive home and make sure that we're all on the same page. And there's a couple of new things that we want to discuss going into this season. So looking forward to seeing all you guys at some point this year and getting rolling tonight. And for a lot of us, this is kind of the start of 2022 in the baseball season. So here we go. I'm going to kick over to Alex. He has a couple of things he wants to talk about, and then we'll get rolling. Alex?
Thanks, Chris. Howdy, everybody. Kind of like 170 strong here, so that's pretty cool. And we had about 50 new members last night. So, give me 1 second. Somebody's having trouble getting on. Sorry. Okay. So I'm going to run through some housekeeping items. Most of this stuff is stuff that we have all dealt with before. We really don't have any huge changes on the housekeeping side. I just like to make sure that we're all on the same page and that we're all transparent about everything that's going on. So first and foremost, this call is for United Collegiate Umpires. Anybody's certainly welcome to be here. There's no secrets, not a secret society, but for those that are from United Travel or just work rough mat for us, don't think that you need to be here because our main focus is for those umpires that are working spring baseball for United Collegiate. I just always like to say that with kind of all the stuff on our Facebook page so no one spends some time on something they don't need to be here for. Again, certainly anyone's welcome to stay. In terms of contacting Chris and I, just make sure in general when you're emailing us that you're copying both of us, no matter what the level is, no matter what the game it applies to. Get in the habit of putting both of us on that email so that we can get back to you as fast as we can, no matter what the level is. And it's alex@umpires.org and cmarshall@umpires.org. Please don't use any of those other email addresses that may kind of pop up from time to time. They'll kind of go to spam folders, and it'll be hard for us to get back to you quickly. Guys, please mute your lines if you can. I can do it from my end, but it makes it a little tough. In terms of communication, please do not text us. If you have something related to baseball business, United Umpires, whatever it may be, please use email. If it's a phone call, if it's something you feel that needs to be a phone call, we certainly understand. But please, in terms of that kind of stuff, don't text us. They get lost. We forget about them, and we wind up with a problem because we haven't addressed something critical that needs to get addressed. As all of you know, our assignments are made in Mid-Atlantic officials. We split that Arbiter system with John and with Greg and the ODAC there as well. So that's Arbiter Group 101-214. And just make sure that in there your name, address, your cell phone, your email address, make sure all that stuff is correct for us. And one thing that I'll ask here is, I'm not sure how it's been happening in Arbiter, but I've noticed that some people have their name in there several times. So I'll see something like Alex, Skandalis, and I have no idea how guys have made that happen, but some of you have. So please go in there, check that, make sure you don't have anything extra in there. I saw one the other day that someone actually got their company name in there somehow too. So just check that because our schools are looking at that, and we want it to look as professional as possible. Kind of as we always talk about with travel limits, we don't really hold you to those travel limits, but we never want you to get precluded from a game based on those travel limits. So if you can, go in there and change all that to 999 miles. Obviously, we're never going to send you 1,000 miles for a game, but I don't want it to be a situation where someone thinks that they're limiting themselves in a way that makes sense and they're missing a game by a mile and now they don't show available. So put it in there as 999 and we'll go from there. Headshots, same thing we say every year. Try to get a professional headshot in there. If you have it, great. You know, if you have something that doesn't really show who you are or show your face, that isn't all that helpful. Sometimes our site people at some of the games are using those headshots to just try to identify who the umpires are. So it's nice to have your family and all that, but it doesn't really serve the purpose that we're looking for. Okay. As of now, our assignments are basically complete. I would say probably 90 to 95%. January here will be spent kind of with reschedules and changes and all the different things that come with trying to get, you know, the number of schools we have all lined up and all working together. So just continue to check Arbiter daily for the additions, the cancellations, and all that kind of good stuff. We apologize if some stuff gets canceled or moved around. We're trying to do the best we can to work with as many schools as we can, and obviously just kind of a lot of things going on for a lot of these institutions at this point, kind of trying to get through their winter season. So some things are trailing in at different speeds from different places. Keep your availability up to date. I think these are, again, all kind of things that we've said in the past. Also remember that in this Arbiter system, two odd things kind of happen that maybe don't happen in other systems, and that's number one, the auto acceptance of your games. So you won't really have an opportunity to accept or decline. As soon as that game pops up, they'll basically auto accept for you. And then also the fact that after 21 days, your games will kind of disappear off of your Arbiter schedule. Again, all that stuff kind of has to do with the size of the group. Certainly that doesn't mean that if a game pops up that you can't work, you don't just get in touch with Chris and I, we'll get it taken care of. It's just kind of the way the system's set up, and we all kind of just deal with it and move on. But for those of you who may be looking at that for the first time, didn't want it to look all that odd for you. Our crew chiefs are always listed in bold. We really ask that the crew chiefs kind of control the making sure that the games are when they are listed in terms of scheduling and get in touch with schools and coaches. So that's kind of a bold umpire responsibility. And as always, kind of on-site an hour before, stay in contact with each other, you know, for extenuating circumstances and things of that nature. We shoot for an hour and hit traffic, you know, we're there 40 minutes ahead. If we shoot for 40 minutes and hit traffic, now we're worried about whether we're going to be there on time. So do us a favor and shoot for that hour and, you know, spend some time with your partners and go from there. Just a reminder for rotations, Division I conference, those rotations are set by Chris in the order that they are in the Arbiter. For all the games of the Division I series, you'll see the umpires listed in the same order. So that means that is the order for the first game, and you rotate naturally from there. For Division I non-conference, all the way down to JUCO, so 2-man, 3-man, whatever it might be, Chris and I don't assign the plate umpire or the base umpires. There has been a lot of confusion, and I hear story after story about this, people saying, oh, the bold person chooses, it should be in the order. None of that is true, okay? We're all adults here. We're all trying to set our own schedules based on what we've got going on, what the rest of our week looks like. And Chris and I have an expectation that you guys will be able to figure that out and figure out who's going to work a plate, who's going to work the bases, who's going to work first, who's going to work third. So if there are issues, obviously you can get in touch with us, but let's, all be adults, manage our schedule here. And obviously things like people who dodge plates get back to Chris and I. We hear about that kind of stuff, and probably a lot faster than you would even think. So just remember all of that and make those decisions. And, for me, when I was working, I wanted to work the plate once during the week and then once on the weekend. And I tried to set my schedule in that way. And for those of you that might be working more, 4, 5, 6 days a week, I would say at this point you might be looking at working about 3 plates in a week. So just keep that in mind when you're making those decisions. Okay, NCAA requirements. For all of our umpires, junior college all the way up, we require you to be a part of the NCAA program. In the past, we may have had some exceptions there related to junior college. That is no longer. If you want to take games from United Collegiate, you must be part of the NCAA program. The amount of information that they're putting out there at Georgia's direction with, Randy and now Billy in his spot and all the different content that's out there, we just think it's so important for everyone to be a part of that. So without going on and on, if you are not registered with the NCAA and do not satisfy all of the criteria, you will not have an initial schedule from Chris and I. The deadline to complete the NCAA requirements is January 21st at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay? So what that means is I want everybody to aim to be done with all their requirements by February 19th at 5 o'clock. And why do I say that? Well, every single year at 4:45 on January 21st, guess what's happening? I'm getting 5 phone calls. This doesn't work. That doesn't work. I'm having these tech problems. Nothing's registered, whatever it might be. If we're going to have those kind of problems, let's have them 48 hours before the deadline, not 15 minutes before. So I know we all have busy lives. We've got a bunch of stuff going on, but let's try to get all of our stuff done by the 19th at 5 o'clock. That way, when we have the inevitable problem, we're dealing with it 2 days before or 1 day or 3 days before, not, 15 minutes before. Just to remind everybody what the necessary parts of registration are. So first of all, you have to sign up for Arbiter, okay? So that's number one. When you sign up for Arbiter, you'll be asked to pay a fee. The fees are structured in 3 levels, $125 for Division III, $150 for Division II, $175 for Division I. Those qualifications and those numbers are not for the level that you are working. They are for the level that you are trying to achieve postseason at. So what I mean by that is if you're an umpire that is in the mix for Division III postseason, but not Division II or Division I postseason, but you also work Division I and Division II, you can register at the Division III level. If you're an umpire that's in the mix for Division I regional NCAA play, you have to register at that top level. So we leave that decision up to you, but if you're kind of realistic about where you sit, you might be able to save yourself $25 or $50. So that's all I'll say about that. You do have to watch the online clinic, and you have to pass the online test with a percentage of 85 or better. The last piece of this criteria, and we don't necessarily need everybody to do it, although I would appreciate if you did because I think it makes life easier, there is a consent to a background check. If you want to work postseason for the NCAA at any level, you have to consent to that background check. Okay? Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to run one, but it does mean that if you get into postseason at various levels, various divisions, they're going to want to run that. And if you haven't checked off that you consent to it in the initial process before the 21st, Chris will not even be able to nominate you for Division I postseason. So get all of that taken care of. If you don't satisfy the requirements by the date, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing Chris can do. Okay? Once you get into that spot where you haven't passed the test, you haven't taken the clinic, if you actually haven't done those things, there's nothing that we can do. Okay? We can't give you a schedule because of the way our contracts are written with our conferences, and there's nothing that the NCAA is going to do to extend that time frame. So I just want you to realize how critical these elements are, and that's why I say try to get them done before that deadline. I will also say we have had a few instances whereby people have satisfied requirements, and for some reason Arbiter did not check it off. And I think in a lot of cases umpires have been diligent enough to print out copies on their screen of past test scores and clinic satisfaction of the clinic requirement. And I would recommend for everybody, when you go through something in the Arbiter and it's one of those steps, please print it out, okay? Save it as a PDF, print it out, whatever it might be. Keep that record for yourself. So inevitably when something gets screwed up on the back end, you can come to Chris and I and say, no, you're saying I didn't do the clinic? I did. Here's the certificate. And we can get it fixed right away. So that's my advice there. On the test, just remember 2 chances. Once that second chance is up, it's kind of up. So we've always had people get together in study groups. It's open book. You have as much time as you need. Use all of those tools. And if somehow that first time you submit, the first time you take it, you're not necessarily in a spot where you've passed, just remember that second time is pretty critical. And once we get past that piece, there's not a lot we can do. So that's most of what I have in terms of housekeeping. I know Chris is going to talk about some testing stuff and some cage work stuff, so I'll turn it back over to him.
Thanks, Alex. Guys, I can go ahead. Who's this?
Alex, this is Skip Dietz. I'm sorry to break in, but for any new guys that are out there, you mentioned a really important thing about using study groups. But if you have new guys out there that haven't, gone through that whole test procedure and all that stuff, they can always call someone in the group and discuss, a couple of questions that they might have questions on. So, everybody and myself, I've been around a little while, are wide open to taking a phone call, before the deadline on the 21st to say, hey, what do you think about this question? What do you think about that question? There's a lot of help out there, guys, so please take advantage of it.
Skip, you don't know how smart you are because that's exactly what I was going to talk about next. Outstanding. Before I get into that, guys, I just want to tell you how important it is for you guys to print that stuff out. Last season, I want to say I had, 3 or 4 umpires who completed the online clinic but did not get credit for it. I was able to provide the certificates because they printed it or screenshot it, sent it to me, and I was able to pass that along. I will get a printout probably starting next week or maybe beginning of this week telling me who has taken the clinic, who has taken the test, who has passed the test. So we will have all this information, but if you don't have proof that you did complete these requirements, I have nothing to, or Alex has nothing to defend you with. So please take care of that. And the second point is I actually did not appear on the list for taking the test last year myself. So it can happen to anybody. Luckily, I had my certificate as well. So Skip so graciously led me right into my next topic here, which is basically the test and some cage work. So to Skip's point, it's a great point. There's so many veteran guys out there and so many tools that you guys can use, not only just newer umpires, and I have an expectation that, a lot of our veteran guys will help the younger guys, the newer guys, because that's what our association, our organization does. But yes, let's get together. Let's take these opportunities to meet, whether in person, phone calls, Zoom meetings, whatever it may be. And I today, throughout the day and early evening, reached out to a number of umpires in certain geographic areas, and I have guys in those areas that are going to be basically your contacts. So I'm going to run through that list right now. And also, in addition to the test, last year we didn't have much opportunity to get out there and prepare for our season, whether it be cage work in baseball domes or wherever it may be, scrimmages. So hopefully we'll have more opportunity this year. So in each one of these geographic areas, we're going to have somebody who's going to help coordinate some of that cage work as well. So starting in Western New York, I know that Mike Lum and Warren Bumpus are going to do some stuff with testing, whether it's Zoom meetings, phone calls. I know Bump has completed the test, and he's willing to help as many people as possible. Wally Bassett will help with cage work in Buffalo. I know he's been doing that for a number of years, so he's a good resource to reach out to. Sean Martin can coordinate, other sites within Western New York into Central New York as well. Warren Bumpus and Lou Bonacci will be your contacts in Central New York for test and cage work. The capital area will be Dave Simon. He'll coordinate both cage work and testing as well. I've reached out to Chris Engstrand in Connecticut and Western Massachusetts. Warren Nicholson will head up Metro New York. Joe Gravina in Rhode Island area. Jeff Merzell will help us out in Eastern Massachusetts. We have Scott Hart, and I'm sure Brian DeBrower will help as well for the Pennsylvania, New Jersey area. And Jeff Mertzel will help us up in Maine. And we spoke to a lot of those Maine umpires last night. So, certainly use these guys as a resource. I'll say whether it comes through one of these regional guys or anyone who has any contact with any coaches or teams throughout the early season, when you guys do receive some information on cage work, please send along to myself and Danny. I know Danny does a great job of getting information up on our website or in Facebook or whatever. We want to make sure that as many guys get that information as possible and that we have as many guys out there preparing for the season. All right? That's my 2 cents on that one. I'm going to send this back over to Alex quickly for some game fees and Division III information.
All right. Couple things that I want to touch upon here before I get into the fees in terms of game fees. But we really have no changes here at United as it relates to the way we're going to do business in terms of assigning fees. We'll still be at that 10% of non-conference. There's no change there. No assigning fees for conference baseball. And all that stuff kind of gets either deducted or invoiced at the end of the season. I'm still chasing some guys for 2021 assigning fees, which I don't want to be doing at this point. Those who haven't paid are probably going to get an invoice from me with an email here in the next couple of days, but I don't want to be doing that 6 months after the season's over. So please, when you get that invoice, just get it taken care of so I don't have to be doing this. I think we wait as long as we possibly can to invoice you, and, we'll go from there.
Wash your hands.
All right. Mute your line.
Wash your hands.
All right. So 2 other things I want to talk about. Turnbacks. So we understand, Chris and I are very understanding that life outweighs baseball for 99.9% of everyone. And we want that to be the case. We want you to see your kids play baseball, see your kids play lacrosse, see everything you need to see in life that comes up after you've taken a schedule. And we understand that. What we ask for is honesty. Get in touch with us. Let us know what's going on. We'll do our best to work with you. Okay? Again, just understand that timing has a lot to do with this. If you tell me something's going to happen 2 weeks from now, that's pretty simple. If you tell me something's going to happen 6 hours from now, that gets a lot harder. So just be respectful of the fact that, Chris and I want to work with you and want to help you get through whatever you have going on, but we just need some honesty and some time to make that work. The second piece of that relates to working for other assigners and higher level games. Okay, so I'm in a junior college game. Somebody offers me a Division II level game. I want to make that switch. Okay, I think in the past we have been a little stricter on that. Chris and I have talked, and we are really going to do everything we can to work with every umpire to try to let them take the best available schedule they can take. Now, that being said, like I just said about the life piece, there's a timing element to this. You call Chris and I 12 hours before your game and say, hey, so-and-so needs me for a Division I game. The answer might not be yes. I know we always want to say yes, but the idea of physically getting someone to a spot is reality, and wanting everyone to be able to work what they can work and move up is sometimes doesn't fit in with that reality. So, again, we'll do everything we can to work with you. Just understand, be respectful of kind of where we sit in that whole situation. So the element of time there is very, very critical. On the Division III front, we have a couple exciting pieces of news. So not for this year, but for 2023, we have the SUNYAC in upstate New York going to 3 umpires for conference play. So that'll be a good addition for us. We get some more people in that region into the 3-umpire system on a more regular basis. As some of you know, this will be the first year that Chris and I are signing the North Atlantic Conference in full. So the 4 New York schools and now also the 4 main schools and then Linden up in Vermont. So all of that are good additions, good pieces, kind of moving forward in terms of what we're trying to do. We're thrilled to have a large number of umpires up there in Maine starting to get on board, and we've had a great experience with those guys and had a nice call with all of our new members, including most of our Maine people last night. So we're excited about that and excited to kind of welcome them in. In terms of game fees, I do not have everything updated right now at any level. I will tell you that the junior college, both New York Region 3 and then Region 19, are going to be at $160 for a single 9 and then $250 for the double 7. That's the same in Region 19 as it was last year, and it's $8 to $15 increase up in New York to bring those 2 in line. And then Division 3 for the 6 or 7 conferences that we do, the minimum, I believe, single 9 right now is $215. So it's $215 for a single 9 minimum. Some of them are higher. And then going all the way up to, I think the highest 7-9 fee is $385. There's some in the $360 range, $370 range, but we're either the same or more in all of those conferences. And we feel pretty good about where we're at on those JUCO and Division III fees, starting to get them up and get them into a range that is really respectable. I think probably the highest in the country. So we feel good about that. Give me till maybe the end of January to get the fees updated. I will update by conference. I will send out emails to the umpires working in a particular conference that the fees are updated, and you'll have an opportunity if it's a league that pays travel and per diem and all that good stuff. We'll give you an opportunity to email me and say, hey, Alex, what are you doing? You screwed this up, and then we'll fix it for you. So we're lucky that a lot of stuff is flat, but there are still some D1s and some D3s that either have a travel cutoff that you get an extra stipend or, are still using mileage. So there are some calculations there, and Arbiter always makes that a lot of fun. So that's kind of that piece of it. Please wait for me on that before you start emailing me saying stuff isn't updated. And then the last piece is, as mostly the New Jersey and Pennsylvania umpires, New York umpires know, or downstate New York umpires know, there's about 15 to 18 Region 19 schools and a couple other stragglers that do pay through United. That list will be updated on our website coming up here by the end of the month. So just so you can reference that and know that instead of looking for money from a particular school, you're looking for money from Chris and I. So just always want you to be aware of that. That way you don't wind up emailing a school who's on that system. So that's all I got on D3 and JUCO. Chris, what do you got on D1?
All right, D1. We've had some changes in fees and formats for the weekends. So we'll start with the Northeast Conference. No change in fees, so we'll be at $223 a game as we have been, and that's the 2019 rate. Obviously, with the COVID years and stuff, it's still having an impact. So we're at $223 a game plus the same mileage scale as we've had in the past. The Ivy League, same format, Saturday, Sunday, 2 nines on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. We're up to $233 per game, but we have the round trip IRS mileage and the hotel allowance for the weekend if needed. So that's good, and we're on a first of a 3 or 4 year scale for them. So they're gonna give us a raise incrementally, so we're pretty good there. The America East, in addition to the MAC, both of those conferences have gone to a Friday, Saturday, Sunday format. So presently with the America East, they are still an $800 flat fee. However, because of the additional day now of Friday games and travel, they have adjusted their mileage scale. I think in 2021 they were not paying mileage for the first 200 miles. Now we have $30 from 0 to 200, and they're also paying a hotel. So, they've made a pretty good commitment and are aware of the fact that adding the day, the impact it'll have on you guys travel-wise. So I can tell you that if you do not take a hotel, you will get mileage all 3 days. If you take the hotel for the 2 nights, you will get mileage on day 1. So, pretty good there. I'm pretty happy, and once again, pretty happy with the commitment they've made to, bump that up a little bit for you guys. As I mentioned before, the MAC is now a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series as well, 9s on all days. They are at a $925 flat fee, so that's a pretty significant raise from where we were, in 2019. I think it's $700. And $290 for a midweek game. So, really good commitment from the MAC. Really happy about that, and also taking into consideration the additional day and the impact it has on you guys. So that's where we are Division I wise. I think I failed to tell you the America East non-conference fee is $215 plus round-trip mileage. So the fee is a little bit lower, but they make it up in mileage. So that's where we are, D1. As always, I'm fighting for you guys to get us some good fees. But, as we're seeing in the D3 world with Alex's conferences there and what we assign in D3 and JUCO, we're seeing movement in Division I. So I really feel like we're heading in the right direction. One slight change for this year, guys, is it pertains to ejections and really not the procedure, but the contact. For this year and moving forward, if we have an ejection at any level, any conference, whether it be JUCO through Division I, I will be the main contact for that. All right. In the past, I think Alex has been the contact for Division III. I think we've split the JUCO between Region 3 and Region 19, and I've had the main contact for Division I. But now it'll all go through me. So if we have an ejection, we know the process, and we'll talk more about that in future calls. But I will be the first contact if for some reason I do not pick up. certainly reach out to Alex if it's an odd case where neither one of us pick up. Just leave messages for both of us, and we're certainly going to get back to you right away. But, you know, it's imperative that we receive phone calls immediately when we have an ejection, and especially in certain situations where, you know, it's in between games of a doubleheader or, you know, if there's players involved with suspension. So, you know, we'll treat a lot of these differently. Certainly some of the easy ejections are just a simple, hey, you know, coach whoever or number 19 for whatever team said a bad word, and that's an easy one. But certainly when we have, you know, bad situations with ejections or just something that you guys feel like Alex or I might get a phone call on, be proactive, call us. You know, we never want to find ourselves in a situation where an administrator or coach calls us and we haven't heard about it yet. We want to make sure that we're hearing from you guys first and that we're able to get ahead of those situations and have answers for people when they call, all right? Like I said earlier, we'll talk more about handling situations, ejections, stuff like that in future calls, but just want to get it out to you guys tonight that there's been a slight change in who you guys are going to contact. All right, Alex, is Keith on, or do you want to talk about uniforms?
I can talk about uniforms.
Yep.
I'm happy to talk about uniforms. So there is no change in our uniform policy for 2021. I mean, as 22, I guess we're in 22. Everybody, just in terms of what's going on, you know, in terms of hats, Division I conference series, we will wear conference hats. So that's America East, NEC, MAC, Ivy League. Division I conference series, conference hat. From Division I non-conference all the way down to JUCO, Penn State, that is all United hat. And then just keep in mind, if you're working, and I know a lot of the Philly and Maryland umpires and even Virginia umpires cross over, you know, if you're working for John Porter in the what's left of the kind of coast-to-coast or CAC, whatever they're calling it these days, and then the CAA, the MEAC, and the 2A10 schools non-conference, just make sure you have an understanding of what his uniform policy is. You know, if it's a MAC hat, MAC, Mid-Atlantic Collegiate, make sure you have what you need for the conference that you need. You know, we wouldn't want the wrong hat on our games and vice versa. So make sure you have an understanding of that. All of the uniform policy is available on the United site. And then on the bottom of the page with the United stipulations, there's also a link to John's website for the MAC, you know, kind of code of uniform. So just take a look at that when you can. Two pieces of kind of information that I will kind of get to you that are very important. Number one is regarding the winter thermal jacket. So as most of you probably know, we had a custom winter jacket made for United. It is a black thermal with gray piping kind of over the shoulders. It was made by 3 and 2. We have about 100 of those coming in to Stripes and Strikes that Keith has got on order that should be here. We would ask that those of you that need a winter jacket, get your orders in as fast as you can. We need to allocate those. We're having some supply chain issues from different countries, things like that. So for those of you that do not have that winter thermal jacket with the gray piping that you can only get from Keith, please get your orders in. Please get that taken care of. That is the winter jacket that we wear. That is the thermal we wear. That is the cold weather jacket that we wear. So we would like everybody to have that. We don't really stipulate too much about uniforms, but that's the one piece that if you don't have that jacket, we need you to get it. You know, the rest of kind of the blank stuff and the convertible jacket and the Majestic shirts and the Smitty shirts, you know, you guys can get that anywhere, but this jacket's got to come from Keith, and we need everybody to have it. So please get that kind of taken care of for us. And get your orders in. Richardson has been tough. All the vendors have kind of been tough on everybody. I think everybody knows what's going on, like just getting stuff into the country and things like that. So the quicker you can get stuff into the system for orders, the better. Please do that. We're doing everything we can to help everybody and to get all that stuff, ready to go. But just in terms of that jacket, very, very important. And then just in terms of pants, we're in the Smitty Performance Poly Fan Pants. So that's that charcoal gray. I know at Keith's site, I think they're about $55. You can get them anywhere, but that's the pant we're looking for, the Smitty Performance Poly. So I know we've had some different pants over the years, and I think everybody's kind of migrated to those pants. But if you don't have them, definitely, certainly get a pair. The hats, in terms of conference hats and United hats, again, just like the jacket, you got to get them from Keith. You got to get them from Stripes and Stripes. There's no other place to get that stuff. So again, please get your orders in. Get them in as fast as you can. We've got a lot of stuff coming in, but you need to have the allocations. You need to have it all set. So again, for Keith and for our entire organization, we want to look as professional as we possibly can. So let's get those orders in. As many of you know, Keith is a teacher during the day. He's running this business as kind of part of what he does during the day. Gets back to a lot of people at night. Please be patient with him. He offers us the best pricing of anywhere. That's why, one of the reasons that we've always, been with Keith, because he offers you guys the best pricing. He's not looking to murder anyone on price, shipping, anything like that. So please get the orders in so that we can get some stuff out and be on top of it.
All right, Alex, this is Bill Worthington. I have a question about the jacket. Is that the same 3-2 jacket that's been around for a couple of years, or is that the new Mock Pro jacket that was put out last year?
No, the jacket I'm referring to is the same jacket that's been around for 2 or 3 years. I know that there's a lightweight jacket that also has some gray piping at the top. That is not the jacket I'm talking about here.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Yep, thanks, Bill. All right, Chris, you're up.
All right. I will stress this one more time, and Alex has said it repeatedly, but guys, don't wait till last minute, especially when it comes to hats. I've been on the end, and I know Alex has too, of seeing some emails or phone calls and some frustrations. So we can't get frustrated with the shipping woes and how things are coming in, but also, it's kind of hard to accept complaints from guys that are ordering hats a week or two before they have games. Okay, so be proactive. Our schedules are out. Just get the hats ordered, and Keith's going to get them as soon as he can to you guys. So I stumbled across a post and a nice little saying that I want to share with you guys, and I think it'll kind of lead into the next topic. And the next two topics I think are going to be the ones where it gets a little more serious and some things need to be addressed. But let me just start with this: sit at the tables where they're talking about ideas and opportunity, not shit about other people. So for whatever reason, and you know what, I'll be honest, I'm probably one of those guys from time to time. Umpires just can't seem to keep their mouths shut. One of the things that I really hated most as an umpire when I was on the field was guys calling around and trolling for information about other guys' schedules. I hated it as an umpire, and I really hated it even more as a coordinator. Let's just mind our own business. Let's just get rid of that whole, lack of better terms, drama. Because it doesn't help any of us. Or guys complaining about what somebody else received as far as a schedule. or other umpires calling me to tell me what guys are complaining about. You know, at the end of the day, let's just take care of our own business. And I think one of the things that makes me most proud of this organization, for the most part, there's no drama. You know, we're all good guys. We're all friendly with each other. We all get along. But, you know, some of the stuff I'm hearing, it's changing a bit. And I don't want to go down the path and have to deal with a lot of this nonsense. And I know Alex doesn't want to either. So this isn't a shot at anyone in particular. I'm not calling anyone out. But, you know, I think we should all look at ourselves in the mirror and simply say, if this applies to me, if this is something that I'm doing, then just stop. Just stop it, okay? It's really as simple as that. If somebody calls you trying to get information about your schedule or something that's on your mind or you can feel that they're digging for something, just don't answer them. Just tell them to stop. And really, the best thing you can do, and really this is why Alex and I, it's part of our job to answer questions, is just direct those phone calls to us. Don't answer questions that you know should be answered by Alex or myself. Direct them to us. We're all adults here, and this is a partnership between us and you guys. And I know Alex, Danny, all of us feel, Brian, you know, this is a big family, and we love the feel of that. And believe me, when we're out there in camps and watching you guys work and phone calls throughout the season, it feels like a family. But, you know, I want this to end, and I want this to end now. So, you know, if you guys have any questions about this or concerns or whatever it may be, then reach out to me offline. But I think this is something that is just going to make us all stronger and make this process go easier. Let's just stop that stuff. All right? Next subject, and I'm sure it's the one that a lot of you have been interested in or waiting for us to talk about, is some COVID issues and testing. So before I get into testing and policies, I was hoping that things would change as far as our interactions with coaches and players on the field. I know last year, you know, we talked about a few times social distancing on the field when there are arguments or discussions, and I was kind of hoping, and I know that in Delaware for some of the guys that were at that weekend, that we talked about the fact that we thought that some of that would be going back to normal. Well, it doesn't appear so. So I'm not going to get into that too much right now, but it does appear that on-field disagreements, discussions, arguments are going to be held socially distanced again. So just to throw that out there, something to think about, prepare for, and we'll just have to monitor that as we go through the season. As far as the policies go for testing, we don't have a whole lot of answers right now, but one thing I can tell you is that we're getting information almost daily. It's just continuing to change. We're still working with a number of conferences to try to figure out what their policies even are at this point. You know, some of the policies are as strict as only fully vaccinated umpires can work. And I guess on the far end of the spectrum is junior college, where their policy may be no vaccination, no testing for you to work in their conferences. So at this point, it's from the most extreme of full vaccination to no vaccination at all. And then I'm sure as we go through this process, some of these conferences are going to fall somewhere in the middle. But at this point, we just don't have all of those answers. So I think that the biggest issue and really the information that we need at this point, once again, and we've put this out there a few times and had a few people respond to us, if you are not vaccinated, Alex and I need to know immediately, like tonight, tomorrow, just so we know where we stand, just so we can come up with a plan once we do receive all this vaccination information and once it filters in. I can tell you that we don't even have a clear definition of what fully vaccinated is. So we may be moving in a direction where fully vaccinated is a booster with some conferences, and it may not be. But just to throw it out there, that is a possibility. So One thing I do want to discuss also is when we're on campuses, and I want to throw this out there specifically because we will be engaging in cage work, working out with teams, we need to follow every and all campus policies with no exceptions. So if that's masking on their campus, socially distanced, whatever it is. We're guests at their campuses, on their campuses. So, really, we have to follow everything that they tell us to do. And there can be no quicker way of getting out of college baseball than for an umpire to just completely ignore campus policies. So please, there'll be a number of people, I'm sure, from time to time that'll tell you what they are. But once they tell you this is what you have to follow, please follow it. So that being said, our stance and our non-political, non-medical advice that both Alex and I can deliver to you guys is this. Your college baseball seasons will go much smoother and much easier for all of you umpires if you're vaccinated. Now, neither one of us are going to share our opinions, our advice, our thoughts, and we completely respect the thoughts and beliefs of all of you umpires. This is nothing political. We're not directing anybody. But like I'm saying, this will be a lot easier if you're vaccinated. So however that plays into your decision-making process, whatever you decide to do based on vaccinations, yes or no, just know it's going to be a lot easier in 2022 for you to be vaccinated. Alex, anything you want to add to that?
No, actually, one or two things. Just to reiterate, at this point, a lot of things up in the air. And, again, when we say we need to know if you're not vaccinated, we don't need to know anything about boosters. I don't need a copy of your vaccination card. All I need to know is if you haven't had any shots, we need an email, okay? That's all we need at this point. I know I've had people send me vaccination cards, send me booster stuff, all this stuff. We don't need any of that. I just need to know at this point who's not vaccinated. I think from the standpoint of umpire supply, some conferences are asking those kinds of questions. And to also just reiterate what kind of Chris just said about being vaccinated, again, that is purely coming from the standpoint of I have had 5 or 6 different umpires come to me and say, hey, I haven't been vaccinated, but, there's nothing that is preventing me from being vaccinated, but, I just haven't done it yet. And my answer is, well, if there's nothing that prevents you, you're going to avoid probably a lot of testing, and you're going to avoid possibly some situations where you can't work at all, because I know there's going to be some conferences that are going to be fully vaccinated only. So, again, that's not to infringe kind of our beliefs on anybody else. It's just a statement of fact that if you're vaccinated, it's going to be easier to get on a baseball field. I think I was hoping that going through 6,000 tests in 2021 that we wouldn't have to be doing this in 2022, but I think it'll be a new challenge and a different challenge of tracking. So I appreciate all the help that all of you gave me specifically last year in getting testing done. It'll be a new challenge this year, probably more recording information. I know Danny has plans with Jim to continue to update our website. Right now, I believe we have a message up that says, 2022 policies have not been updated yet, but we will try our darndest to, by the minute have the updates up there on what each conference requires, and obviously there'll be a series of probably conference calls, Zoom calls, every other thing about this. So just understand that, on January 12th, even if we told you what somebody's policy was, by January 31st, it could be completely different, and we were still 3 weeks away from anybody even thinking about throwing a pitch. So just bear with us. We're doing the best we can. It's going to be a lot on us, a lot on you guys. So we appreciate everything. We know it's not easy, and I think that's the gamut on COVID for the night. So, I just mentioned him and some of the stuff he does for us in terms of video, social media, and all of that kind of stuff. But I'm going to give the floor to Danny here for a while, someone who I think we all have a ton of respect for all the work he does for us in terms of getting stuff out there to the umpiring public. And Danny, you with us?
Yep. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Alex. Guys, just let me first go a little offline. As I've sat here listening the last 2 nights, I couldn't help but think, and I made mention of this to Alex after the call last night, that when I first started college baseball, it would have been really great to have things like this conference call. So I just wanted to let Alex and Chris know that I really appreciate all the thought, care, and time that they put into these conference calls. And I would trust and hope that everybody on the phone on the conference call feels the same way as I do. That said, I will be brief. Our social media presence is only growing. All of our handles are now completely uniform. One word, @United Umpires. The 2 biggest platforms remain Facebook and Twitter. We're also now on Instagram and TikTok. In terms of training content, there is one standalone platform with as much training content as anyone could possibly want, and that's our YouTube channel. In terms of getting the most up-to-date information, as good a job as Alex and Chris try to do in terms of emails or phone calls, even the COVID Resource Center that Alex made mention of, the most up-to-date, timely announcement information has been and will continue to be found on our Facebook page. I know many of you may not be on Facebook. If you're not, you don't have to join. Just take a quick look at our page, make it a morning or a night, part of your schedule, and that way you're really up to date, like I said, with as much information as we can put out. In the next week or so, I am going to be putting out a graphic with a new email address. The email address will be videoplays@unitedumpires.org. There's no need to write down the address because, like I said, I will put the graphic out. But what I would like to do, and I make this appeal every year, is for any plays that you guys might have while you're working a game, whether it's mechanics video or a rules play or a naughty play. Really the criteria that I like to cite is if you have a play in a game that the collective group can learn from, I would love for you to bring it to my attention. If you can't forward the actual video, whether you know video exists or not, you can always just forward me the important information, the game, the date, the inning, situation, etc. Really anything that can help me find that play. Once again, the email address will be videoplays@unitedumpires.org. One of the things that we've done, and probably in the last month on our Facebook page and on the website, is we have put out an appeal for all of our umpires to contribute to what we are trying to put together in terms of recruiting new umpires content. So the concept is really simple, but I also think it's meaningful. And what I would ask any of you to do is to simply record a video, send it to me, and what I would love to hear from you guys about is, why is umpiring important to you, or how has umpiring impacted your life? I like to say all the time that if I had never got into umpiring, probably 95% of the people closest to me I would have never met. So whether it's lifelong friends or remaining in a sport that you love, or just the life lessons that umpiring has taught all of us, I would love it if you could take a few moments, get a smartphone, get a little tripod for the phone, and record essentially what is your umpire story. I will also reiterate what Chris talked about, cage work opportunities. If you are aware of them, and obviously Chris cited all of the guys that are in charge of different geographical areas, if you guys can just send me some dates, I will be glad to put all of those dates up on the Facebook page, on the website. That way, like Chris said, we can make as many umpires as possible, make them aware of these opportunities. Because one of the things that I certainly learned last year was I missed it. I missed cage work before the season started. So as long as cage work is going to be accessible this year, please forward all of that information to me. And I believe that's it for me. Yep. Have a great year, everybody, and I will look forward to seeing all of you at some point this season.
Thank you, Danny. I say this every year, and Danny doesn't hear it enough, and I know a lot of you guys definitely appreciate everything he does. We do. He's one of the best at the business, and not only getting and selling our organization, selling you guys, but also, highlighting all the good things you guys do. So can't thank him enough, and send him what you have. We love highlighting and putting you guys out there, and because really you guys are the stars here. We just do the behind-the-scenes stuff, and that's the way we want it. In closing, guys, just one more topic. I just want to briefly talk about some preseason training. There were some dates that were announced preseason in Charleston. Okay, we're going to be running a 4-day mini camp down there, Charleston, February 2nd through the 6th. The following weekend in North Carolina, the 10th through the 13th. And we still have slots available for the Russ Matt camp that we're running February 28th through March 6th. So certainly a lot of good opportunities for you guys to get out there, get some work in, get some training, prepare for the season. At least Russ Matt will be some really nice weather, and years past, Charleston, North Carolina, it's been kind of hit or miss. But certainly if you guys have the opportunities to get out there and get some work in and prepare, I mean, no better way to get in and get ready for the season than to get out there and do some stuff early. Keith Seghetti just has a couple of words he wants to talk about briefly. So, Keith, I'll shoot it over to you.
Hey, thanks a lot. I left Alex kind of take care of everything with the uniform policy, and he was spot on. There was one thing, and I see orders coming in, and I just don't want to mislead anybody. It is in bold red print on the website of the actual cold weather jacket, but you need to order that separately. Those who did that already, I'll call you. I'll take care of it. We'll get it squared up, but it has to be ordered separately, because if that doesn't come into the first week of March, and you have games before that, and you have some United hats in there or a pair of pants you need hemmed, it just becomes a nightmare of doing some type of split ship on it. So anything that you may want separately, certainly appreciate the business, but if you would put that in a separate order, as with everything going on with shipping coming from, as we spoke about a little bit earlier, we may get those jackets in a week earlier. We may get them in, a week later. So they're all going to come out individually, shipped to you. So if you have any questions on that, best way to email me at Stripes and Stripes Ltd. Danny, in fact, will be putting out something tomorrow on the Facebook website as well as our website that kind of reiterates that. So I just wanted to clarify that so nobody's in a bad spot.
Awesome. Thanks, Keith. Thanks for
question on the jacket.
I'm sorry?
Is the one we want the one with the gray on the shoulder that comes down all across the front?
Yes,
it's
called, in fact, the United Mac Cold Weather Jacket, and I believe, in fact, I know it's called on the website.
Because I saw some last year, the Smitty convertible, where you could remove the sleeve. It's not that, but you want the code. Okay.
Hey, guys, I am actually on the Facebook page right now, and I will be posting the cold weather jacket infographic momentarily.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Danny, anything to follow with? Anything to close on your end?
The only thing I have, and I don't have the dates completely set up yet, for anyone in the New Jersey area, I will be having cage clinics with Dave Martinez, and I'm going to reach out to some other local guys to help out as well. And that will be held in Rutherford. I believe it will be at the end of January and the first day or two of February. And if there is the demand for it, Jimmy has told me that we can, work out other dates through the middle of February up until February 16th.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan. Alex?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I would just say from a content standpoint for the Rough Mat Clinic coming up, great opportunity for some of you that may want to be in that D2, D3 mix with Don Umlin and Scott Taylor both attending that camp. So that's just kind of a one to throw out there. It's, in the D2 and D3 program, the budget is not what it is for the D1 coordinators and evaluators. So, there are no Bill McCallums and Jim Jacksons in D2 and D3. So that's a goal of yours or something that, you've wondered why you've kind of been stagnant or just worked at the regional level, never gotten a super at D2 and D3, that might be someone to get in front of. Just kind of throwing that out there. And then just briefly, we'll kind of have the same footprint in the summer this year. So you can start thinking about all that kind of stuff. I just wanted to kind of let everyone know that. So New York Collegiate, MLB Draft League, New England Collegiate, all will be back with the 2 New Jersey leagues as well. Chris will have the small league in Western New York. So same footprint there. I know there'll be a new assigner, a local guy out of Worcester, doing the Futures League this year. So someone to get in touch with there, if, to kind of fill in dates as well. So that's the update on the summer. As far as, the spring, just kind of bear with us. And we'll all get through this together. Kind of, I think I say that every year, and every year it seems more and more appropriate. So thanks for joining us tonight, and I will turn it back over to Chris for his closing.
Thanks, Alex. A couple things I may have left out throughout the night. I want to send a couple thank yous out. First off, Alex touched on this a little bit earlier. All the testing, all the running around and the testing you guys did last year, and I'm not really sure if I ever shared this with you, but I can tell you from at least 2, maybe 3 or 4 administrators, the job that you guys did last year in testing and sending stuff in on time and doing stuff on your own, without a doubt was the best of any sport in the Northeast. I heard horror stories from some administrators about other sports, and not to call them out, but that's just a tribute to you, to your hard work, to what Alex set up, all his hard work, and what Danny did on the website. So as a team, kudos to all you. A lot of big thank yous to you guys for all your hard work over the summer. You guys did a great job on the field. You made my job as an assigner, of these college summer leagues a lot easier by just, fulfilling your games, being there when I needed you, and really doing the job out there. And because of that, obviously, like Alex said, we're still going to have the opportunity to umpire those leagues again, and it's because of your hard work. As of to end tonight, I just want to say I'm sure there's going to be some questions about the COVID stuff, and to Alex's point, just hang in there. We're going to do our best to get information out when we have it. If you have any specific questions, or I know we didn't give you the opportunity to ask tonight, you want to reach out to myself or Alex offline with your concerns or comments, please, feel free to do so. Can't guarantee we're going to have a whole lot of answers, but, we'll give you what we have. Once again, thank you, everyone, for taking time out. And like I said earlier, this is something we're going to get back in the habit of doing this year, and we really appreciate your time and effort. And good night, everyone, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.